Hey there, fellow travelers of the cinematic cosmos. I'm your guide, Joseph Sharafi, and I'm here to invite you to ride shotgun on a wild journey we call Flashback Montage. On this trip, we'll plunge headfirst into the glorious chaos of film, TV, and the strange tales of lifestyle coaches who have shifted the tides of human consciousness. In each episode, we'll storm the gates of a different year, exploring the psychedelic depths of the stories that made us weep, laugh, and redefine the American dream. So my friends, throw your aviator glasses on, grab some popcorn, and buckle up for a mind-bending escapade. Subscribe to Flashback Montage on YouTube, and together we'll dance with the ghosts of our favorite celluloid memories. See you on the other side. All right, welcome to Flashback Montage, the podcast where we take a trip down memory lane and revisit some of the most iconic movies, TV shows, and cultural moments of the past. I'm your host, Joseph Sharafi, and each week I'll be joined by a special guest as we dive into a specific year and explore the highlights of that time. From blockbusters that defined the era to the shows that kept us glued to our screens, we'll relive the nostalgia and celebrate the classics that still hold up to today. But we won't just be talking about entertainment. Not just entertainment. We'll be also talking about lifestyle coaches who have inspired and influenced us and how their impact can still be felt in our lives today. So it's a journey through time that will make you laugh, reminisce, and maybe even shed a tear. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and let's take a trip in time with Flashback Montage. Today, my wonderful guest, she's a thespian, she's a writer, she's a producer, and she's my friend. I'm so happy to have her here, Nicole Unger. Thank you so much for being here. Could you say hi to the guests and tell them a little bit about you and what your interests are?
Oh, sure. Hello, guests. Oh, Joey, thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to be here. Podcasts are awesome. I actually write and produce my own podcast with my two best friends called Morning Murders, where we talk
Shameless
about...
plug.
Yes, where we talk about true crime and coffee. So I'm excited to talk about some movies and not that those things they're very interesting to talk about, but this is like more upbeat.
It can be absolutely.
It can be, yes.
Wonderful. So cool. So you've been around, you're in Vegas, you've done a lot of acting, and now you're on our show. We've worked together.
Yeah.
She's been an actress in a few of my short films, and it was just a delight to work with her. We've got Miss Goodwitch coming out very soon. Can't wait for everybody to see it. We'll drop a trailer in this podcast so you guys can take a look. Super happy. You're amazing. So, what have you been up to, Nicole? Please, can we talk about this?
Good. Yeah. I mean, another shameless plug. I've been working on season 3 for the podcast a lot. That's what one of my big focuses have been.
Where can people find it?
Oh, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. We're not on YouTube quite yet, but we're everywhere else. So, Great. Morning Murders.
That's the only thing we're on is YouTube. So we got it covered. You got everything else, and we've got the YouTube.
Great. I've also been, I've recently started playing D&D, the Dungeons and Dragons game.
Okay.
I play professionally now, which is pretty exciting. I work with my friends at Art Hard Studios. They have a production called We D&D. It's live streamed on Twitch every Tuesday at 8 p.m. And they are also on YouTube.
Awesome. We can drop a link too in the undertext if you'd like, if you want to give that to us so that we can get the viewers to there.
That would be fantastic.
Amazing.
Great.
Well, let's get to it. The reason we're here today is we're about to find out your top 5 favorite movies and television shows of all time. Everybody knows the format. So we go 5 to 1. Your 5 least important to 1, your most important. We're going to start with TV shows. What is your top 5 spot for TV shows?
Oh my gosh. I've been dreading this because it's so hard for me to pick favorite things. They constantly change. I have just moments in life where I'm like, these are the things I really like, and then I'll adjust. And it's hard to put them in order. So I start with the bottom of the 5, right?
But we're going to go slow, nice and slow. Savor it, all right? We don't want to go too fast. So yes, 5 in the 5th spot. What do you got?
Okay, let's see. Currently, oh God, there's so many good TV shows. Okay, I'm just going to start, because it came in my brain. I'm going to start with Community.
Okay, Community. Tell us a little bit about Community and why it's so close to your heart.
It's a very funny show about people in community college. And I mean, I went to college. I didn't go to community college. But I just love the dynamic of the group, because it's you get everyone. You get the really preppy girl that's is very into studies and like wants to get good grades and is like really obsessed with stuff, and I relate to her. And then there's like the guy who's like, I've created this because I want to cheat off of all of you, basically. And you've got like the two best friends that like end up making movies and like being really silly, and they're just such a cool dynamic. And then you've got the really old guy who like really shouldn't be there, just kind of causes drama. But it's just such a cool group of people, and I love throughout the season how much they progress and grow and become friends and become like this family, even though it kind of started with these ulterior motives. But they really like click and get each other and protect each other towards the end of the show, and I really enjoyed just watching the arc of the whole thing.
Wow, that's amazing. When did you first start watching Community? When it first
COVID.
came out? Oh, really?
No.
So COVID got you into it.
Yeah.
You were like, man, I don't know. I've never seen this show, but I'm going to try anything at this
Pretty
point.
much. A lot of people have recommended it over the years, and I was like, I should just watch this show now. What else am I doing? Let's just watch this show. Because I was all alone during COVID. It was just me and my animals. So I'm like, what can I
I
do?
think a lot of people can relate to that, just being alone with their animals, even their
Yes.
kids. Kids can be animals.
It's true.
That's amazing. Community. I love that. Top five. Okay, what's your number four? Four spot.
Okay, number 4. Let me think. Let's go Criminal Minds.
Wow. Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about Criminal Minds, what it's about, and why it has a close place in your heart?
Criminal Minds is about the BAU, the Behavioral Analysis Unit of the FBI. They track down serial killers and murderers and like save people's lives, to put it in a nutshell. I watched that show pretty much when it started coming out, and I just recently watched the newest because the new season came out recently on Paramount Plus. So I just watched that and like got reacquainted with most of the characters, which was really cool. But I am a true crime obsessed person and have been since I was very young. And so like shows that involve the FBI or Behavioral Analysis Unit, I'm very obsessed with, and I think they're just awesome. And I really enjoyed the structure of Criminal Minds and how so many of their cases were based off of truth and did such a good job bringing truth into this also fiction setting. I just really enjoyed seeing that dynamic and all of those characters too, and just the different personalities. They're not like cookie cutter people. They've all got really cool depth lives, and you get to experience that throughout the show, as well as them solving these cases and saving all of these people.
Wow. Wow, that's powerful. So what did you personally what drew you to Criminal Minds? You were just like, I love, crime dramas and whatnot, and
So in college, I had a conversation with one of my roommates, and I was like, I think I'm going to join the FBI. And she's like, no, Nicole, you don't want to join the FBI. You want to act on a show that is about the FBI. And so, like, that's really what kind of pushed me to start watching Criminal Minds more.
you're like, I want to be an FBI agent. And they're like, it's really dangerous. You could just pretend to be an agent. Actually, I relate to that a lot. Like, I was like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a fighter pilot. I want to be a fighter or a firefighter. And I was like, well, I could just be an actor and just do it all.
Exactly.
And then I was like, I'm not even going to be an actor. I'm just going to be a director.
Perfect.
I'll just make other people do it. Exactly.
You do it, and I'll tell you how to do it.
Don't die.
Don't die. No.
Seriously, though. Safety first, everyone.
Safety first.
Criminal Minds. Coming in at number 4. What's your number 3?
Okay, number 3. What is number 3? Let's think here. Um, uh, oh gosh. This Is Us. Let's do This Is Us. Actually.
Oh, This Is
Yeah.
Us. I love This Is Us, but for people who don't know what it is, please tell us what it's about and why you like it so much.
This Is Us it's a story about family and struggle and love and overcoming really complicated issues together and also alone. I really enjoyed again, I just like the dynamic of different characters. That's something I look for in shows. And the way that the story is told is really cool because you flash back and forward in time. It does go to the present also, but you get to see this family grow and change in a really unique order. They're very specific with how they tell the story in the order in which the time they reveal things. So you know certain aspects about the family as the show starts, but then throughout the course you start to just really dive deeper into the struggle that this family is going through and why the kids kind of ended up being the way that they are, and then how they overcome their struggles later on in life as adults, and just like how their mom really ties everything together, and just how powerful she is in the family, and how she's even unknowingly helped them their entire life when they lost like their father and all these things happen without spoiling too much.
Whoa, spoiler alert! He dies?
Watch out.
Uh-oh. Milo
Um,
dies.
No, he does. That's so sad. That's so sad. It's such a sad thing.
Don't
But yeah,
they draw it out, though, for like
They
a
do.
few seasons? You're like, you know he dies. You just don't know how he dies.
Yeah, you don't know exactly what happens. And then when it happens, you're like, no, wait, what?
Can we just do a spoiler alert? What happens to Milo? How does he die?
Oh, so the house catches on fire and he goes back in to save the dog. And because he goes back in, he gets smoke in his lungs and he seems to be okay at the hospital, but then he takes a really, really terrible turn just seconds after and he dies.
Wow. Just seconds after.
Yeah, like literally the Mandy Moore plays the mother. She like walks out of the room. She's told he's fine. She goes to get a snack and he dies.
What?
Yeah, it's really awful. I sobbed. This is a show that if you just want a good cry, like watch This Is Us because you cry for happy reasons, you cry for sad reasons.
My gosh, this and Parenthood is kind of one of those shows that got me.
I haven't watched Parenthood.
Oh gosh, Ron Howard is the producer, I believe, of it, and it's based off of his 1990 movie with Steve Martin.
Okay.
Parenthood, but it's more. It's again, it's kind of the tone of This Is Us, and just happy. So if you ever get the chance, definitely Parenthood. Wow, what an amazing pick! This Is Us, and Mandy Moore, man, that makeup on Mandy Moore, bringing her older, like that was
incredible.
Isn't that great? I love when they're doing that.
The makeup artists are incredible on that show. It's amazing the work that they do. It's so great, flawless.
And she did a great job too at acting, Mandy Moore. I was like. I was kind of blown away by her because I always knew that she was, she had done stuff before, but then you see her in this and you're like, this is a whole new light, I feel like.
Yeah, and I really love that she still got to sing in it too, because singing is part of her character, but her character doesn't get to become a singer. So like every once in a while, she gets to kind of touch on that, and she's such a beautiful voice too. Not only she's an amazing actress, she's an amazing singer too, and the fact that she got to do both things, and it wasn't like she's a pop star, like she just was this mom who like used to sing, and then every once in a while she sings and inspires her daughter to sing, and her daughter like ends up teaching all these special needs kids to like embrace music. It's just incredible. Like it's just such a good story.
Wow, This Is Us. Amazing. Thank you so much for that. So what's your number 2?
Number 2, I'm gonna say Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec. Tell us a little bit about Parks and Rec and why it's got a soft spot in your heart.
Oh man, so Parks and Rec is about Leslie Knope, who runs the Parks and Rec department of Pawnee, and it's a what is it called? Like the fake documentary
like a
series.
Mockumentary kind of.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, it like a lot of people will either watch The Office or Parks and Rec, or like will kind of watch both. The Office is great, but I am more of a Parks and Rec fan. It caters to my comedy a little bit more.
What's the difference? Could we talk about that? Like, what do you think the difference is between The Office humor and Parks and Rec humor?
I enjoy that it the lead is more of a female voice, so like the way her comedy is a lot different than the male voice that comes from The Office, and it's just more I don't want to say it's more heartfelt, because I also think that The Office has a lot of heartfelt moments. I just enjoy the pace of the more upbeat, quicker pace of Parks and Rec. I feel like The Office sometimes doesn't go quite that route. And I haven't finished The Office, so I could be totally wrong because I haven't actually finished the series because I liked Parks and Rec better, so I started watching that show more.
After the 5th season, I think it goes downhill a little bit on The Office.
Okay. I also just like that it's about parks and just like how it relates to the community and like how she tries so desperately to like reach out to these people, whereas The Office is not quite like that. It's more like in-house. But Parks and Rec also involves a lot of the outside community, not just The Office itself.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Parks and Rec. Chris Pratt, right? He got his start on that. Well, one of them, right? And he got big on that show, I think, right?
He was supposed to just be a really small little bit thing, and he ended up doing so well that they kept him on. And one of my favorite moments is like totally improvised. And it's like Leslie's really sick at The Office, and Andy, his character, he like types in all of her symptoms into Google and hits enter, and he's like, I just tried to look up your symptoms and it came back with like connectivity issues or whatever. Like it just errors out, and he just is so deadpan and serious, and he's like, I think it's really bad. Like it's just totally improvised, and it's such a funny moment. It was great. Super great. Aubrey Plaza's also in it. She's fantastic. And her career has gone amazing. Like, she does such great work. And I just love kind of going back and seeing her in Parks and Rec and like seeing her now and how crazy, like the White Lotus or the White Lotus,
Yeah,
right?
White
The show that
Lotus.
she's doing now.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
Yeah, you do a remake of that, one of the season 1 scenes? Yeah.
I did, yeah. For my friend's class at UNLV, I got to work with the students, and we did a cool scene from that show, which was really awesome to do.
That looked really cool. That looked awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. Parks and Rec, amazing.
Yes.
What a great one. Nick Offerman, Chris Pratt, Amy Poehler,
Nick
Aubrey
Offerman is
Plaza.
so
He's
good.
hilarious. He's so funny in this.
He's so good.
I love it. I didn't think Parks and Rec was going to be funny. I thought it was going to be like a spin-off of Office. I didn't know what I was expecting. So I was really excited and pleasantly surprised. Amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
so what is your number one favorite TV show of all time, Nicole?
Okay, my number one TV show of all time is Bob's Burgers.
Bob's Burgers. That's not the first time somebody has mentioned that on this show. Yeah, Kevin Sanders. That was one of his favorites. So
Yeah.
please
Oh, Kevin, we talk about Bob's Burgers a lot, actually.
tell us
So I'm not surprised.
a little bit about Bob's Burgers, what it's about, and why you like it so much.
I literally watch Bob's Burgers all the time. It's definitely my number one comfort show. I just love the family and just Bob, man. He's just this real guy. He's just trying really hard to like make this burger place happen. And his family, as chaotic and crazy as they all are, and as much as he says like, yeah, I hate you, you're all terrible, but there's so much love in that family and just their beautiful personalities, the way that they blend together and just help each other. And I just love watching them and just the silly things they get into and how much trouble they cause, but it's all like out of love. And just, it's just such a good, heartwarming, just if you need to just de-stress and like life is crazy, just like watch Bob's Burgers because it'll just bring you joy, man. It's just so good. And the whole like town, all of the characters are just so fun. Nick Offerman also shows up very often in that show, which is really fun. And just like getting to know all of the different characters outside of the family is just neat. Like the neighbor, the mortician, Mort, like he runs a funeral parlor right next door to the burger shop. It's just great. I just
Wow.
enjoy it very much.
I've never seen Bob's Burgers, ever. I've told Kevin this too, and he was like, "What? You have never?" So I'm gonna. Okay, what should I start? Should I just start on episode 1, or is there like a good season to hop into that's your like?
I think you should just start at the beginning because that's also part of the fun is watching how the show gets to progress too, like how the art just gets even more detailed as it progresses. It's just a really cool show to watch because of the like one, the characters are really fun, the writing is really great, but also visually getting cartoons are so cool. I love watching cartoons from the beginning and getting to see the art progress. And there's even a season when you get to it where there's the first episode, all of the fans got to submit sections for the episode. So it's a combined art episode of like fan art as the show progresses. So it switches art frequently, which is just so cool to watch. It's just the show did a really neat thing in general, like just as the stories are getting told, but bringing the fans in was such a neat thing that they continue to do also.
Wow. That was powerful. Powerful. Bob's Burgers. I'm going to have to give that a shot. I feel like I'm slacking. I'm sleeping on a hit.
There's a Thanksgiving episode where all the turkeys and ducks and geese kind of get involved. There's supposed to be like a cute turkey run, but it goes wrong, of course. And there's one character who like is always in a Speedo and he skates around and he's getting attacked by a turkey and he's like, "But I'm a vegan." I replay that clip so much because I am a vegan. But I'm a vegan.
Turkey, you're supposed to love me. I will never. They don't know the difference.
They don't know.
They don't know. Shameless plug, Morning Murders. And your wonderful coffee mugs. Yes. You're a mugger as well. I'm a fellow mugger and a magnet enthusiast. Wonderful.
Same. I'm a mugger, I'm a magnet enthusiast, and a dad hat collector.
Nice. Dad hats. Dad shirts are nice. I like colorful socks. All right, let's move on. Now we're at the next section, which is the wonderful coveted section that everyone loves. And sometimes it comes first, sometimes it comes last. Today it came second. And it will be your top 5 favorite movies of all time. Feature films, they have to be real, not AI generated. And go ahead, top with your top five.
Oh my gosh, movies. There's so many amazing movies. Um, well, okay, actually, one of them is going to be from our year. Serendipity is one of my favorite
Oh,
movies. I'll
wow.
put
This
that at
is
number
not the
five.
first time we've heard this
What?
on this show. Serendipity. Can you tell us about serendipity and why you feel such a kinship with this?
Serendipity, I that's one that I watched so much growing up. I just it's another love story, romantic comedy about the idea of the serendipitous moments. And just there's the two leads meet each other, and she's very into fate and writes her phone number in a book, and she's like, when you find this book, call me. That's how you're gonna get my phone number, and it takes years, but it's like fate aligns, and it's always at the right moment. It's the kind of the idea of like you are with a person, you meet the person that you're supposed to spend a larger amount of your chapter, your adventure with at a certain time when you're ready. And when they first meet, they are not ready for each other. And fates or whatever universe kind of intervenes and is like, not quite yet, guys. You can have this little like hiccup moment, but you're not going to meet until you're supposed to. So they separate. He doesn't find the book for years, and like they both kind of become new people, they grow, they experience heartache and love and all these things. Then they find each other when they're supposed to. Like I think it's him, he's gonna get married, and he like finds the book is gifted to him by like his best man or something, and her phone number's in it, and it's just wild. It's just such a great love story about like just it's okay to let go when you like love something, because if it's supposed to come back, it will. Like whatever universe, fate, whatever you believe in is going to intervene and like make it happen some magical way. And that's what this movie does, and I think it's really cool.
Wow. Serendipity. Didn't expect that one coming in. Wow.
I also went to there's a restaurant in New York, Serendipity, which was kind of inspired the movie, and I went to it, and it was really cool.
Really? Is it?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Serendipity is a 2001 American romantic comedy film directed by Peter Chelsom, written by Mark Klein, and starring John Cusack, Kate Beckinsale. This was also, the cinematography was by John D. Borman, and this was a budget of $28 million. It came out to $77 million in the box office, so success for Miramax for a romantic comedy. Oh, music by Alan Silvestri. Interesting. Yeah, I did. Jeremy Piven's in this, and I love the fact that because I love me some Jeremy Piven, and I was not expecting him to be in this. So it's like when Dave Chappelle kind of pops into a serious movie, you're kind of like, oh, I didn't realize that he was going to be in this. So that was exciting. It does kind of. I actually really love John Cusack. I watched American Sweethearts a bunch of times, and just kind of I thought he was just so amazing. And this was a great movie for him. And there was another one that he was in with Jack Black about Point Break or something, or it was about record store, something. But John Cusack, he just keeps kind of coming in there with these kind of little, I don't know, romantic comedies that just, he's kind of like a Matthew McConaughey, but just a little more darker, I guess I would say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
cool.
I love
John Cusack.
I think he's
And
great.
Kate Beckinsale. She's
Yeah.
great too.
Oh,
She's
she's
fantastic.
so good.
All
Yeah.
right. So wonderful. That was your top five. So what is your number four spot? What do you got for me?
Number 4 spot. I'm gonna go Zootopia, which is a Disney film.
Wow. Disney film with Amy Poehler, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so tell us about Zootopia and why you like it so much.
Zootopia. Judy Hopps is my spirit animal. So
She's a bunny, right?
she's a bunny.
Okay.
And she wants to be a cop. And they're like, you can't be a cop because you're a bunny. And she's like, I'm gonna be the cop. And she does it. She does it. She succeeds. And she meets this wild character, Nick Wilde, who is just fantastic. And it's about like kind of discovering who you are and fighting the obstacles of becoming who you want to be, despite the fact that others might be pushing you down. Because a lot of people don't believe in her throughout the movie, but she really like defies the odds and pushes and grows and becomes a really great cop, and solves a huge mystery that's happening in Zootopia that no one can figure out. And it's because she trusts her gut and she listens to people, and she finds a partnership with Nick, who is a criminal basically, but she takes a chance on him, and they end up becoming this really cool dynamic duo, and they solve this awful crime that's going on in Zootopia. But it's just about like the idea of what you think is perfect isn't necessarily perfect, because utopia is supposed to be this, like, utopia of a sense, but it has its problems, it has its struggles, but it's about kind of finding the way to balance those out and embrace them versus like shunning them, because it's like people like meat eaters and vegetarians, right, essentially, and it's like this guy could totally eat me because I'm his prey, but they find a way to work together and like overcome obstacles and find like ways to live in a peaceful way with each other. That's kind of what Zootopia is all about.
Wow. Do you remember watching Zootopia for the first time?
I do. I was actually working for Disney Cruise Line at the time, and it premiered on our ship. And a group of us went together, and with no real idea what it was going to be about. And me and my friend Andrew were super impacted by it. He's like the Nick. He's like the Nick to my Jody Hopps. It's like, yeah, he's the Nick to my Judy. But like we both just fell in love with the film, and I've watched it a bunch of times since. It's just really uplifting and heartwarming, and just, it makes you feel like you can do anything, because that's what it's about. It's about, you can be anything you want to be as long as you keep pushing forward and don't let others get you down.
Wow. Zootopia is a 2016 American computer animated buddy cop action comedy film produced by Walt Disney Animation Studios, released by Walt Disney Pictures. The 55th Disney animated feature film, first installment of the Zootopia franchise, which was directed by Byron Howard and Rich Moore, co-directed by Jared Bush. Wow, they had like 3 directors on this? Interesting. Very cool. Screenplay, Jared Bush, Phil Johnston. Produced by Clark Spencer. Cinematography, Nathan Warner and Brian Leach. This was a huge hit for Disney. $150 million budget, which is a huge budget. And it made $1.25 billion. Wow, that is a huge hit for Disney, which is why they're probably pulling this out now out of their hat to go into more and make this into a franchise. And
yeah,
the way that you explained it, of it being such a highbrow idea of be who you want to be, who you can trust your gut. I didn't really ever think about this, so I think that's why it's probably a lot of people really resonate with this film, and because it does have it has really powerful animation. It's great animation, and animals.
Oh, yeah.
Who doesn't love animals? And then humanizing them, anthropomorphing them. How do you say it? Is that the right word? Anthropomorphic.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Humanizing
Yeah.
animals. Wow, what a great hit. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love it. I also just super relate to Judy in the beginning. She's like a kid, and she's like putting on a play, and she like dies, and she's like, death and blood, and she's like squirting ketchup everywhere. And I was like, I did that. That was like me as a kid.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm watching a few of the clips right now, and there's this scene where the fox is pretending to kill the rabbit, and
Yes!
she's like having to like do the
Yeah,
it looks scary
back.
for a minute. I was like, wait, this fox about to kill this rabbit?
It looks pretty intense.
They're friends.
Okay, there's also like I should have also one of my other I've recently gotten into Breaking Bad, and so I'm about to finish the series. It's really good, and there's a Breaking Bad comment in Zootopia.
Really?
Which is great. Yeah, because there's like these so what's happening in Zootopia is like the animals are going rabid, and they're attacking for no reason, and like it's kind of disrupting the peace that's kind of been created. Carnivores are attacking, the plant eaters or whatever, and they're like, what's going on? And then you kind of find out that there's these I think they're blueberries, or they're like or they look kind of like blueberries, that they're got like a poison or something in it, and they're like poisoning the animals to like make them crazy. And it cuts to like this scene where they're like in a lab, and it looks just like a meth lab from Breaking Bad, and it's like Jesse and Walt. It's really funny.
And they're making the blueberries, the blueberry drugs. Oh my gosh. And then that DMV guy who's just like,
oh, he's such a good character, Flash. Oh man! Spoiler. And then at the end, they pull him over because he's speeding in a car. Oh my god, it's just so great.
He's
it's
in like a Porsche.
Yep, it's such a good show. I love it. Great script.
That's amazing. Okay, well, what is your number 3?
I'm gonna go with Slumdog Millionaire.
Wow. Danny Boyle, huh? Okay. Tell us a little bit about Danny Boyle's masterpiece, Slumdog Millionaire, and why you like it so much.
I mean, it's just kind of another one of those like push forward films. It's about not giving up, and you keep going forward. And I actually read the book that it's based off of, Q&A, which is really good. And they're both very different, but you can understand where the script for the film came from.
Hmm.
And Slumdog Millionaire for me came out of nowhere. I think it was in high school at the time, and we got invited for to come and be like a test audience. And we're like, what is this movie about? And we went and watched it. And I just remember like sobbing and loving it. I still listen to the soundtrack. Like, it's just such a good, like, Latika, like, it's a love story. It's a story about fighting for yourself and pushing forward and believing in the unbelievable, and just you keep going, because he achieves such amazing things in the film. It's just really cool. I had like a yellow scarf that I used to wear all the time because of the movie.
Oh, wow. No way. Slumdog Millionaire, 2008 British drama film that is a loose adaptation of the novel Q&A by Indian author Vikas Swarup. And it is directed by Danny Boyle and apparently Loveleen Tandon, which was a co-director, actually, which I never knew that, actually. Screenplay by Simon Butoy and cinematography by Anthony Dodd Mantell. Amazing. This was a $15 million budget, which is extremely low budget for a feature film. And this grossed over $378 million. So this was a big, big deal for, who was this? Distributed by Panthe. Who was I'm trying to think of who doesn't say. Interesting. Cedar Films, Film 4 Productions, and then Panthe Distribution. So this was, I guess, a United Kingdom. Must have been a United Kingdom project. Wow, amazing. What about Slumdog Millionaire? Do you remember watching this for the first time? Do you remember feeling the feelings of watching it? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I just remember when I remember feeling just really pulled to the film, and just like such a sense of like hope. And I haven't rewatched it in quite a long time, and it keeps kind of getting brought up in weird ways, and I'm like, the universe is telling me to watch this movie again. I just remember just rooting for him, and just like being super engrossed, and just loving the character progression, and just wanting them to be together, and just watching this love story unfold in the mix of all the other wild things that happen in the film.
And it's like he's answering the questions, right? And it's going back in time for him to figure out what the answer is. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like pulling from different experiences to figure out the answers to these questions that he's not really they don't expect him to get any of these right.
Wow, that's so powerful. Amazing.
Yeah, like his life, he just goes through so many different experiences, and he struggles through his whole life, and just like gets to pull from that when he's on this show.
Powerful. I'm just, again, sometimes I watch these clips as the person is talking about them, and I get engrossed into the movie. I'm like, wow, I've not seen this in a long time. I think I need to see this. So it's like, because as you're talking, I'm putting clips over you. So
cool.
Yeah, so it's fun. Wow. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you for that. So that was your 3. What about your number top 2?
Okay. Let's see. It's another 2001 movie. It's on my brain now. I'm gonna say Donnie Darko actually is one that
wow,
I
Jake
watched,
Gyllenhaal.
So good. Oh my.
Tell
so
us about it, and tell us why you like it. Why is it your top 2?
It's just so dark and twisted and weird, and you're like, what is going on?
Yes.
I remember I rewatched it because I like watch it every Halloween pretty much, or like every other. And whenever I rewatch it, I'm like, oh yeah, this happens. And the bunny. Like, he's just, I got to see the costume recently too. I was in LA, and I went to the the museum that has all the stuff, and I got to see the bunny costume, and I was like, this is wild. It's right here.
Patrick Swayze is in this?
Is he really? I forget who's all in the movie. I just think about Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently he's in Donnie Darko.
He's in Donnie Darko, and I think that's great. He plays somebody at a school conference. He's like on a microphone, and he's telling him about stuff, and Jake Gyllenhaal's asking him questions. I think he's an author or something.
It's so good, and every time I rewatch it, I'm like, oh yeah, Drew Barrymore's in this. Oh yeah,
yes.
Maggie's in this. Oh yeah, all these people. Maggie plays a sister in this.
I actually heard a story where Drew Barrymore actually was a huge part of getting this movie made. Yeah, she was established by this movie, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Jake Gyllenhaal, he was kind of, he was newish, and And so she actually was the one that kind of got attached and was able to get the funding, and that was kind of what pushed it through for David Kelly, that was getting Drew Barrymore. So, powerful
I
moments.
love that. It is just such a weird movie about what is like time and what the idea of time and like space science. And I just think it's so good. And Donnie Darko is such a good character. He's just so, you just don't know what's going on with him and you're just trying to figure it out. And then that thing crashes into their house and
The plane? Oh, gosh.
yeah, it's just, or is it a
Spoiler
satellite or a
alert.
plane?
I think it's a plane, right? A full plane hits their house, doesn't it?
I couldn't remember if it was a
Is it
plane
a
or a
satellite?
satellite.
Wow. Donnie Darko is a 2001 American science fiction psychological thriller written and directed by Richard Kelly. And I think I said David Kelly. I meant to say Richard Kelly. And produced by Flower Films. Stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Gina Malone, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Drew Barrymore, Mary McDonald, Catherine Ross, Patrick Swayze, Noah Weil, Stu Sohn. Oh, there's a lot of people. James Duvall. Seth Rogen is in this?
Yeah.
Seth Rogen is in Donnie Darko. Get the hell out of here. What? That's amazing. Written, obviously, by Richard Kelly. Cinematography was by Steven Poster. And this movie was a mild hit. $4.5 million. It made $7.5 million. But it's more of a, it made its money back and more.
Yeah.
And it's a cult hit. It's a cult classic for sure. Wow.
I went as Donnie Darko for Halloween.
Did you really?
I did.
How did it go?
I did a dress though. I found like a skeleton long dress and I did that with like a gray hoodie and I like did the like dark circles under my eyes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Donnie Darko coming in at number 2. All right. Well, what's your number 1? What do you got? It's coming down to it. Number 1 movie of all time.
Oh gosh, I feel like again, it's so hard for me to pick all of these things because I feel like it constantly changes. I'm trying to think so what would be my number 1 movie right now? I feel like the new Chippendale movie that came out from Disney really had a very strong positive impact on me and I feel like that might be my number 1 right now.
Wow. Please tell us about the Chip and Dale movie and kind of why it's your number 1. That's amazing.
So Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers was like my jam growing up.
Mm-hmm.
They're my favorite little chipmunks. I love them very much. And the film does such a good job about bringing in nostalgia of the old show and just creating something new because it's basically about them being actors. So it's about them being actors that were on Chip and Dale and how like where they are now and like how the different directions they've gone. And like Chip really is like gone away from it and isn't, really doing the movies anymore. And like Dale's like really into it and like doing all the things.
And now he's 3D. He got it the 3D
3D
operation.
Yeah, and it's a cool comment on like the progression of like where we've gotten to, with all the plastic surgeries and like the way we're telling stories now, and so it's just like a cool like comment on where things have gone and like kind of shaking that awake and being like, let's not do that, let's go back to this instead,
and Peter Pan's like a drunk.
Oh my god, it's so funny. It's just
with a beer
all
belly.
The characters are so good.
Seth Rogen is that guy with they couldn't get the eyes right. Couldn't get the eyes right. He's like,
what do you mean? I'm looking right at you.
I'm from like a 2004 video game where they just couldn't get the eyes just right. I thought that was very, very.
So good. And there's like the bad
witty.
Sonic is in it. Like it's just,
that's right. Oh my gosh.
it's just so smart because they're all. It reminded me of the Roger Rabbit film. From a few years back, where it has all of the animated characters, they're actors that are in these movies, and I love that idea. Or like, even Wreck-It Ralph is a very similar idea too, where it's all of the video game characters are real; they're just acting and things. And I think I just love that idea, and I really enjoyed how the writers put the Chip and Dale movie together. I just thought it was so great. I cried because it was good. I cried because the story was just like, it gets you really emotional, and it's like just beautiful. So I'm gonna put that at my number 1 right now.
Wow, number 1, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. This is a 2022 American live-action animated adventure comedy film based on the characters Chip and Dale, and a continuation of the animated TV series of the same name. So this was directed by Akiva Schaffer, written by Dan Groger and Doug Mayland. It stars John Mulaney, Andy Samberg, Kiki Lane, Will Arnett, Eric Bana, wow, and a number of different people. J.K. Simmons, Seth Rogen. Wow, interesting. That's very powerful. I know there's a scene in there where all the Seth Rogen
voice characters that he's done pops up at his other character, like the monster from Monsters and Aliens, Pumbaa from Lion King, the mantis from Panda. I think they all are kind of in there in a moment. And cinematography was with Larry Fong. And this was a $70 million budget, and it grossed $1.8 billion. So this was a huge hit for Walt Disney. Huge hit. Wow. Amazing. Chip and Dale. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Okay, so we did it, guys. We did it. We did top five favorite feature films and TV shows. This is amazing. It's wonderful. This leads us to our next segment, Hot Shots. That's right. So this is where we choose every guest we get, and that's my son in the background right there, if you guys just didn't see, walking around in his underwear. Thanks, Luke. And so 2001, everybody gets a year, and a special guest gets she got this year. It's 2001. And so we're going to talk about the top movies, grossing movies, powerful movies, blockbusters, Academy Award winners of 2001, TV shows and movies. So first what we got is Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, start of an era, the very first. We've got A Beautiful Mind, and we've got Amelie. Do any of these movies kind of hit with you, resonate with you at all, Nicole?
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, 100%, absolutely. One of my goals this year, which I haven't been very good about doing, is I want to read the books, because I've only read The Hobbit. I haven't read the other books. But also, my partner and I, we're going to rewatch all of the movies. It's one of his favorite things is Lord of the Rings. And growing up, my dad really loved it. I loved it. It's such a fun fantasy. You get to step into this really amazing world and watch these people overcome incredible struggles with each other. Like they really find power with each other, like within themselves too, but they come together and really help one another. And I just think it's really beautiful to kind of watch throughout the whole series. It's just incredible. And I don't care how long they are. They can be even longer. I don't care, because I'm there. I'm invested. Let's go.
They're so good. I remember watching them as a kid and just being like, this is like top notch level. This is like literally, I feel like where Game of Thrones got their vibe from was these movies. Like they knew, okay, this is doing really well. This is kind of a period piece with some fantasy, and they just went with it because just Lord of the Rings did so well. Peter Jackson was just amazing with it. He just killed it.
Yeah. Seriously.
And I think he wrote the scripts himself, and he adapted all of it from the books.
Amazing.
Powerful.
It's incredible. It's beautiful. It's just beautifully shot. It's beautiful acted. It's just beautiful. It's just
Elijah Wood.
Oh, he's so good.
Isn't he amazing? He's just so good. And then who else was Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn? Fantastic. What a hero. And everybody's just loving Orlando Bloom as Legolas.
Great. Orlando Bloom, Legolas. Yep, had a crush on him as a child.
But who played Gimli? He was one of my favorites. He was
Gimli.
He was the dwarf, the redhead dwarf. I can't think of who plays him. I can't go out. Who plays Gimli? Come on, Google, help me out.
Google, help us.
Who plays Gimli? Somebody's literally yelling at us right now.
Like,
dude, it's blah, blah. John Rhys Davies, duh. John Rhys Davies. Why didn't you know that? Davies. John Rhys Davies. Sorry. Davies. Of course we knew that. Everyone. Sorry, John.
Of course.
Classic. They did a new Lord of the Rings series. Have you watched that?
Yeah, I have not seen it yet. I've heard good things about it, but I haven't had a chance to watch it.
I've watched a few episodes of it, and the first episode is really nice, and then I feel like the second episode and the third and the fourth are a little bit of a letdown. And then it picks up, I guess, at the end of this the season. But I just kind of dropped out, so I need to try again. I need to kind of get in there. If you guys like Lord of the Rings, the show, please send a comment down and below and let us know why we should watch the show and continue watching it. And I think they have a season 2 that's been pulled out. Cool. Wonderful. Wow. Okay. So any of these other movies, Beautiful Mind, Russell Crowe.
I don't know if I actually saw Beautiful Mind. I know that I know the name very well, but I don't know if I've actually seen the movie.
Ron Howard movie, Russell Crowe, about a guy who is like seeing delusions. He's like a mathematician, genius, and he's seeing things that aren't there. So like this guy, Ed Harris, spoiler alert, he's like this government guy that he thinks is real, and he thinks he's like solving a government case, and he ends up finding out that Ed Harris is just a figment of his imagination.
Oh man, I have to watch.
Oh, you got to. Oh, dude, I think he won Best Actor for that. I'm not sure, but
all great.
Yeah, absolutely. Amelie?
Yeah, Amelie, really good, really, really good. I recently watched that one about 2 years ago. I hadn't seen it before. I really enjoyed it. I think it's great. I love, and what's funny, I'm gonna reference Bob's Burgers again. There's a character Teddy who's like, "Let's Amelie the guy. We'll change his shoes." And I didn't get the joke
We'll
until I
change his
watched
shoes.
Amelie, and I was like, "Oh, stop it."
Do they change the shoes in that? Do they change shoes in Amelie?
So she pulls a prank on the guy because he's like causing problems, and she switches out a bunch of his stuff. She like makes his shoes, I think, too small, and she just kind of little things in the house because she breaks in and she just like changes little things to kind of make him go crazy.
Wow, awesome. Amelie, I've never seen
Yeah,
that. I'm
it's great.
gonna have to give it a shot. Absolutely.
She's fun. She's a fun, like, quirky little character. There's some a love story also involved, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun.
Fantastic. Wonderful. So how about these shows? The top shows during 2001 were 3. I think we touched on one a little bit, but this was 6 Feet Under. Have you ever watched that one?
No, I've heard of it, but I never actually watched it.
I've never watched this either, but I've seen clips, and it's with the guy who plays Dexter, isn't it?
Oh, he's so great.
Why can I not remember his
okay.
name? Who plays Dexter? Why am I gonna? I can't believe this. We've got no names here. This is the worst. Who
I am really bad with names.
who plays Dexter?
I have to write all names out.
Michael
I'll
C.
forget
Hall. Duh.
Michael C. Hall.
Michael C. Hall. How do I not? What's like the most
Did Cabaret.
nonchalant
Great-
name
great in
ever?
Cabaret.
Michael Hall. 6 Feet Under. It's about like a morticians, a family of morticians,
Right.
and a funeral home, and just kind of the stuff that goes on there. And I would assume it kind of feels a little bit. It's on It's a Showtime show, I believe. So it's got a kind of shameless kind of feel. Weeds kind of. In the family business, not knowing how things are going to end up, and
Similar to Dexter.
kind of right in that way.
Yeah. Which is also a show.
Exactly. Okay, so 24. Have you ever watched 24? 24 with Kiefer Sutherland?
No, I've not. No, I've never watched 24, but it's like every episode is like a day, right? Like it is a 24-hour period is an episode.
I think it's like an hour.
Which I think is a really cool idea.
I think
yeah, like the it's like the show, or is an hour?
I think.
Okay, wait.
Yeah,
explain
so
the
I
show.
think the whole show is like 24 hours. Like the whole, not every show, not every episode, but one episode is an hour throughout the show.
Throughout the day, like
Yes.
of this 24 hours.
Of 24 hours,
Okay,
yes, exactly.
Okay.
And it's like another hour of it. Like, oh shit, whoa, okay, cool. And then number 3 is The Office, but The Office UK version was killing it.
I haven't watched the UK version. I've been told that one is better.
I don't know. I've never watched the UK version. I've only watched the US version, and I was very disappointed after season 5. I was like, I don't know what they did, but like it must have been writers. I know Michael left, and there was a lot of difference in that. And
Yeah, sometimes that's what happens with shows. Like they don't get to choose their own ending. One thing I liked, and this is the wrong year, but what I like about Schitt's Creek is they picked their ending. So I love it when shows get the ability to do that. When they're like, no, we're done now. This is where the show is going to end, and it ends beautifully.
Wow.
It ends the way it should. Versus like other shows who,
Just
for whatever
dragging
reason,
on.
have to keep dragging on. And sometimes it's not even the creators. It's someone else that's like, no, the show's going to keep going.
yeah,
Like,
because
there's
we're
so
gonna
many
make money
factors.
off of this. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Walking Dead. I feel is a good example of that. It's just gone on too long.
Absolutely stopped watching that show.
I stopped watching 5 years ago when he got pounded with a baseball bat and his eyes popped out of his skull. That was messed up.
I stopped just before that because I knew it was coming. I'm like, no, I won't watch it.
Dude, I knew it was coming, and I was like, I have to watch it. And I said, why did I do this to myself? This is horrible. I love Glenn. He reminds me of Kevin Sanders. I'm just seeing Kevin get his head bashed in.
No.
Golly!
Not Kevin. No.
Not Kevin. Dear gosh. Okay. Well, this leads us to our next lighter side of the podcast, where we highlight a lifestyle coach who has been impactful, and in 2001, who was killing it in the game as far as lifestyle
wait.
coach.
Before we switch, because
Sure.
didn't Buffy the Vampire Slayer come out in 2001?
Did it? Ooh, let's find out. Was that a number one though?
I don't think
it was
I
like
don't
a
think
slow
it was
burn. I
number
think,
one.
right?
I think it was, but it definitely popped up when I was looking up things. I don't know if it was. I didn't look into it further, but Buffy is a wonderful show.
Slayer. Well, tell us a little bit about Buffy. Why not?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer is about Buffy, who is a vampire slayer.
In what year? Let's see here. 1997.
97. Okay, all right. So it just was a season that came out in 2001.
Yeah, it
but
was probably doing pretty well, I would assume.
doing pretty well at that point.
But maybe not as
It
good as
definitely
24.
popped up when I was looking up. It was like, but it was like popular things for you. So obviously, it's for me.
I thought Angel was
but it's
good. I like Spike.
very-
They're both though.
I just looked it up. So specifically what came out is Once More with Feeling, which is an incredible episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It is the musical episode and has become a musical, and it is incredible. It's about a singing demon who comes into town, and the way he like starts manipulating and getting power from people is he makes them sing and dance, and they reveal their truth. And some of them do it to the point of death. So like that's how he kills people. There's like scenes where there's someone like dancing until they die. They literally die dancing. And so like, but as people sing, it's like all fun and games, but then truth comes out and they end up hurting each other. Like, words hurt, like they reveal a truth they were keeping from someone. It's an incredible episode. So that is what came out in 2001 is Once More with Feeling.
Once More with Feeling from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Buffy the Vampire
Did they
Slayer.
get Angel? Was he in that? Did Spike do some
No,
singing in that?
Spike is in that one. He's a great song. It's so good. Highly recommend. Highly recommend.
Spike's one of my favorite characters for sure. Misunderstood vampire. Just like Eric
Agreed.
Northman in True Blood. I don't know if you ever watched that.
I haven't watched True Blood. But I've heard
Oh, so good. Sookie Stackhouse. You got to get on that. At least try one episode. For goodness gracious.
All right. Sorry. Moving on.
Moving on. Lifestyle coaches. Who was killed in 2001? Well, we'll let you know. It was Ilana Vazant, is an American inspirational speaker, lawyer, spiritual teacher, author, television personality. Born in 1953, she's best known for her work on the television show Liana, Fix My Life, where she provides life coaching and guidance to people struggling with personal issues. Her powerful teachings focus on spiritual growth, personal development, and empowerment. Van Sant has written several books, including Acts of Faith, Daily Meditations for People of Color, and in the meantime, Finding Yourself and the Love That You Want. Despite facing numerous personal challenges throughout her life, Van Sant has become a symbol of resilience and strength, impacting millions with her wisdom and insights. Do you have any recognition of Miss Van Sant's work at all?
I don't, but it sounds really fascinating.
Very fascinating. Do you have any motivational speakers or authors or lifestyle coaches that you follow that you'd like to shout out?
I don't really. It's more like I find that in the people that I surround myself with, like in daily life. I don't really know a lot of the famous ones. I just kind of pull inspiration from a lot of my amazing, beautiful humans that I interact with. You are one of them, of course, with your directing styles and kindness. And that's kind of what I do. I just kind of see and pull inspiration from the people that I surround myself with.
Wow. Do you want to give somebody a shout out besides my wonderful self that you just did? Thank you so much for that.
Oh, of course. Yeah, actually, I want to shout out my two best friends, Amanda Kraft and Brenna Folger. I love them dearly. Another shameless plug. We write and produce Morning Murders together. But
Where's the cup? Where's the cup? Get the mug.
I've got two of them.
She's got two mugs. She's double mugged.
Double mugged. But no, like Amanda and I have been friends almost 15 years now, and Brenna is very close behind that. So I just they continue to inspire me. They are constantly creating new things. They are fearless, and when they're not fearless, I am fearless, and we pull that from each other. And we've continued to help each other for years, just kind of inspiring new ideas, taking chances, making bold decisions, just finding things to create together, finding things to create separately, and then supporting each other. So I constantly find inspiration from the two of them because they're just incredible, beautiful people.
Wow. What, isn't that just amazing? That's powerful stuff. Thank you so much. I did so now to wrap up our wonderful session that we had here. Do you have anything that you wanted to say to maybe your fans, to the audience listening, about kind of what we had talked about, just kind of like a wrapping up of also like kind of what movies and television shows mean to you as an artistic performer, and how they've changed you and molded you throughout your life, and how important the mediums are, and a stick to go back to the movies, and for filmmakers to make movies that are worth people going to the movies for?
Yeah, I think one of the coolest things when you were like, you've got 2001. I was like, what's come out in 2001? I think my biggest takeaway from this is just to go back and revisit different eras of time and like remind yourself what came out then. Because not only is it really cool and nostalgic to like go through different years and be like, oh, this is what came out. This is neat. You also just like unlock neat memories within yourself and why you're doing things. And I just think storytelling is such a powerful thing that we've been doing literally forever. We've always been telling stories, from around, campfires to now, big screens, and, stages, and now even like live streaming. Like we continue to tell stories because as human beings, that is one of our most powerful tools is telling stories, whether they're fact, fiction, or a mix of both. You learn and you grow, you inspire people with storytelling. And I am just reminded how much I love telling stories, like bringing a character to life to tell their story is one of the most amazing things. Step into the shoes of another creator and just let truth be told, whether it's like, they're the villain or they're the good guy. It doesn't matter. They all have an amazing story to tell that's part of an even bigger story. And that is one of my favorite things, is just neat things to tell, because someone's going to relate to that. Someone's gonna listen to it or watch it and get inspired or feel like they're not alone. And I think that's one of the biggest things, is just reminding everybody that you're not alone and you've got stories and characters and people around you that are with you, whether they're next to you or not, whether they're on the screen or on the page. You're never alone, because there's always something that's within you or around you.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. That was such a great send-off. Wow, amazing. So I like to do a little surprise here on the end of each episode. I like to send out a little surprise. So if you could look at your email and let me know when you see what I had sent you.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
And let me know.
Exciting. Oh, I have something.
I love seeing their faces as they find out what's going on. Let me know.
Okay. I got a document. Is that right? Getting a document from you?
Did get a document, okay. Yeah.
Okay, a Beautiful Mind document.
So what we're doing is we're doing a frozen read from the 2001 hit A Beautiful Mind. You will be playing Russell Crowe's part, John Nash, and I will be playing John. You'll be playing John. I'll be playing Charles.
Okay.
So are you ready to do this?
I am ready. Let's do this.
Okay. Interior, Nash's office day. John Nash is a brilliant mathematician who is struggling with a mental illness. His friend and former roommate Charles visits him at his office.
I see things that aren't here. I just choose not to acknowledge them, like a diet of the mind. I just choose not to indulge in certain appetites, like my appetite for patterns. Perhaps my greatest achievement is being able to convincingly simulate a completely normal thinking pattern.
Mathematics didn't tell you that, John.
You are what you are, and I am what I am. A conspiracy theorist without the theory, a mathematician without the ability to divide.
I don't believe that.
You don't?
No.
But you know what I've always thought? I've always thought that in a way we're like computers. We're just like them. I mean, we have the same abilities. We store information and we retrieve it. We process data, but there's one thing that makes us different from them. It's that we have emotions. We have feelings.
You're still the same old John, aren't you?
Yes, I suppose I am.
The two share a moment, understanding and camaraderie as Charles leaves and John continues his work. Wonderful. Amazing. Great job. You don't need to do that last part. Thank you so much for allowing us to have this wonderful session. This was an amazing podcast. I just really enjoyed having you on it. It was great. So just thank you so much for being here. It's amazing.
I enjoyed being here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And so we come to an end on another wild ride through the reels of time with Flashback Montage. It's been one hell of a trip, my friends. And as we revisited some of the most iconic movies, TV shows, and cultural moments of the past with a fresh, irreverent eye, we've laughed, cried, and maybe even learned a thing or two along the way. But the journey never truly ends, does it? There's always another year, another moment in time to explore. So keep your eyes peeled, your ears open, and your heart receptive. And join us again next week for another installment of Flashback Montage. Until then, stay weird, stay curious, and keep the nostalgia alive, my friends. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.